Welcome back everybody to the Cirque Show 24/7, and this is episode 10 of The Flash, entitled Revenge of the Rogues. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, Revenge of the Rogues. I really like this episode because it went more into the comic book. It really went comic booky in this episode for me, and I like that. And if you watched my last review, I think my last review was Gotham, the last episode of Gotham, and I had issues with Gotham because it doesn't know its tone and what it wants to be. Flash is the perfect example of what, like, they know what they want, they know who they are, they embrace it, and they don't try to be what they're not. And I love that about this show. I love that about this episode. This episode really highlighted, like, you know, this is a comic book show, and it's a goofy show, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it has fun with their stories and stuff like that. And I really enjoy when a show can do that, when a show is very self-aware and stuff like that. That's why I really enjoyed this episode, and the fact that you have like this prison break, like, reunion, you know, which is like the greatest thing in the world, because I was the biggest fan of Prison Break. No one can tell you different. I was the biggest fan of Prison Break. So it was good to see, you know, the Schofield brothers back together, you know, reunited as Captain Cold, as Heatwave, and just having them, like, their banter between one another and like the way they bounce off each other. It's really cool, and it shows how much they're comfortable around each other. So I like the fact that, you know, we got to see them come back, and in a big way, and that it's one of those reveals to where you get a little taste of them now, but they're a part of like this bigger plot throughout the season of Flash, and I like to see that. And I was so happy the way that this episode ended. But let's get right into this episode now. Barry, when we last left off, Barry, you know, he found, you know, the man in yellow, reverse Flash. I was about to say reverse Zoom, but reverse Flash. He knows that reverse Flash is faster than the Flash. So Barry has been trying to train to, you know, get himself faster, because, like he said, he's not the fastest man in the world. He's the second fastest, and he needs to be faster to beat the fastest man in the world. So I like the fact that, you know, he's pushing himself to greatness, to what we all know he eventually is going to become, and how great he will be as a hero. So I like the fact that he's pushing himself to the limit, to, you know, strive for excellence. And then you have the, you know, the return of Snart, and who is Captain Cold. He brings, like, backup. He brings his friend Heatwave, and they're basically just trying to get Flash out into the open, so Flash can kind of reveal himself to the world, so the world can know he actually exists, which I thought was really cool, because what's so cool about Snart is that he's very intelligent and he's very methodical, just like his character in Prison Break. He's very methodical. And he thinks things through, but, you know, his partner is very hot-headed, obviously, pun intended. And just having them go back and forth, and, like, with their differences and stuff, but they do have the one goal to really, like, bring out the Flash, just so people can, you know, see who he is. Because I wasn't really thinking about it. Like, nobody has really seen the Flash, really, except for a select few people, and everybody thinks he's just a myth. So they want people to know who he is, because once people know who the Flash is and that he actually exists, then that's when you start exposing things, and that's when people start coming out, and that's when chaos starts to ensue, and, you know, like, other bad guys are going to say, yo, we got some fun now. We can actually have fun now. We have somebody to challenge us. So I really like that aspect of the show. And like I said, this show is very fun, and I love it. It's not like its counterpart Arrow, where Arrow is very serious. The show, through day one, it was fun. It knew it was fun. It knew it was a silly show. and they embrace that. And I love the fact that, you know, you got Captain Cold, you got Heatwave, and they're like turned up to the max with like their very zany one-liners and zingers of evil villains and stuff like that. And that was cool, and it fits with this show. You know, if you the reason I had issues with Gotham, because Gotham and what they were trying to do, it didn't fit with that show. They were kind of trying to do like humor like the Flash in that kind of show, and it doesn't work. So that's why I'm praising this episode, because it works in this episode, and I really, really like it. I do love the fact that we're getting more information about Ronnie, and you know how he is Firestorm, and like that whole outcome, and she's really trying to, you know, explore and see what really happened to Ronnie. So that's really good, and that's going to be like one of those slow builds throughout the season, throughout the rest of half of this season. So hopefully it pays off really nice. But so far, I'm liking what they're doing with it. And we get to, you know, we get to Iris and Barry, and you know how, you know, when we last left them, Barry, you know, told Iris like how he really feels and how he truly does love her, and how he wants to be with her. But she's with Eddie, and it causes, you know, some tension between them, and it causes them to, you know, kind of be awkward around each other. And you know, Iris is basically moving on. She's with Eddie. She's moving in with Eddie. But I do like the fact that Barry, you know, took it upon himself. Like, yo, I know what I said was a lot for you, but at the end of the day, if you're not my girlfriend, you're still my best friend, and I'm always loving you regardless. So I like the fact that they still, throughout that whole awkwardness and that whole spiel of Barry telling Iris how he feels, they can still come together, and they can still like love each other and still be a part of each other's lives. And it's not too crazy, and we don't have like this crazy awkward love triangle thing. But you can tell that Iris is kind of probably starting to see these feelings, and you can see a little glimmer of it. So I like that. I love the fact that Eddie actually had a moment to where he actually saved the Flash, because the Flash was kind of getting his butt handed to him throughout this episode, which was good. Like I said, I like when the Flash is challenged, and I like when villains challenge the hero and stuff like that. And I think it makes a great balance of the show. And when, you know, you got when you got these two villains and they get captured and stuff, and you got that end tag at the end where you know, Captain Cold's sister rescues them, you see that as a part of a bigger thing, and he's got this plan like really thought out, and he knew it was going to work. This plan was going to work once everybody knew that the Flash actually existed. So you can tell that he's thinking like 12 steps before everybody else. So I'm excited to see how that all plays out with his sister, how she is part of this, who else they're going to actually bring in to this whole rogues gallery on the Flash universe, and how, you know, we still got to figure out when the Reverse Flash is going to come back. So I'm excited for a lot of moving parts in this series. It was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. What do you guys think about this episode? Please like this video, comment, subscribe, tell me what you thought. And as always, this is The Cirque Show 24/7. Be easy.